This year we have a long standing tradition in Eunice that we're going to do it again. The oldest photo we have on file of the Eunice Mardi Gras run is 1919. Downtown they have a photograph of about 15 to 20 on horseback, and they have a picture of it in the Culture Center. I don't know if that Mardi Gras was older than that or that was the first Mardi Gras run in Eunice. But Eunice has a long tradition with the Coureur de Mardi Gras. And the only time I think that they didn't have Mardi Gras in Eunice was during World War II, because all the men were out fighting in the war, so they didn't have any men to run in the Eunice area. And Mr. Helmut Smith said that after they all came back from World War II, that's when they resumed the Mardi Gras run in Eunice. I started running Mardi Gras in Eunice in the 70s. I was a teenager, a young boy, and back in those days, they didn't care about the drinking age. We all ran with it. I think that when I ran, and there was like 60 of us that ran, and maybe 10 horses. And we all ran. Nobody worried about the alcohol. You know, it was, everybody enjoyed themselves. We had a good time, there was no girls or women that was allowed on the run at that time or prior to that. And I think in the late 1970s, that's when the women started running in the Eunice run. They started behind a bed of a pickup truck. It was about 4 or 5 of them. And then the following year, they started on a utility trailer. Then a couple years after that, like around the 1980s, it's when we integrated the men and the women to run in the Eunice Mardi Gras. And I think still today, that is the only run that they let the women and the men run together. In the other communities, they have it separate. And so I ran the Eunice Mardi Gras for quite a few years. And when I had my first child, I stayed out. I didn't run. And I said, the next best thing is running Mardi Gras is kind of helping out, keeping the Mardi Gras thing going in Eunice. So that's when I started co-captain. And I did that for, I think, 12 years. And then when the old captain, Nelson Godo, got sick and couldn't do it anymore, the rule was the longest co-captain in the run would step up as head captain. So that's how I became head captain in the Eunice Mardi Gras, because I stayed in it long enough to, I guess you call it seniority, and then I stepped up to captain. And I've been that for quite a few years. This year Mardi Gras is February the 17th in Eunice. We started the Northwest Center from 6 to 8. We signed up the Mardi Gras. I have a suit and a mask that's supposed to be a true Mardi Gras. Well, this year we're pressing the issue with the Mardi Gras. The last few years they've been coming with the costumes, but they've been forgetting the capuchon and the mask. When the old tradition is the Mardi Gras, you're not supposed to know who the Mardi Gras is. Some people wear gloves. They wrap their head when you don't see their hair, their necks. That's what the true Mardi Gras is. So if you come to Eunice with a cowboy hat and blue jeans, you're not going to be allowed to run. And this rule is for the security people we have on hand, the co-captains and myself. If you're not dressed in a costume, like what I just said, you will not register the Eunice run. You can go home and find what you need and come back before we leave. So we usually leave around 8:30, 9 o'clock, as soon as we can get everybody signed in. Everything is spent on the Eunice run is bought locally. Dollars being spent in the Eunice community. I just think we have a very good thing going here, and we're trying to get a museum started in Eunice to get old items like a museum. The Culture Center is letting us use the room for time being to get our stuff that we have collected. we don't have a whole lot, because it's hard to find artifacts from the old people in Mardi Gras. We're looking for old Mardi Gras masks, costumes, old photographs, anything to do with Mardi Gras. From 1919 or beyond, before that, or till now. Because I'd like to know the history of who was involved and who ran and what was done back in those days. Because if you don't get it preserved, you'll never get it. It's going to be lost. We will come downtown at 3 o'clock for the parade. We're going to have chicken runs all during the route. We go on Swallow Road. We go to farmhouses. We get chicken chases. And weather is not an option for us. As you can tell from last year, we ran Mardi Gras and that weather was nasty. But we had 500 Mardi Gras that ran in that weather.
Wow.
We had about 25 to 45 horses, but by the time we got about midway, we had about 2 horses. But the ones on the trailer stayed because they had their canopies and they were out the elements. Weather's not an option for us. We go. We don't put off Mardi Gras because Mardi Gras is that day. And another thing we're trying again this year to promote Eunice Mardi Gras, we had a poster drawn up. They used to do it years ago, and I don't know why they stopped, but we had put a poster together of the Eunice Mardi Gras. And next week we're going to be putting them up for sale. They're going to be numbered. We're going to print only so many of them and they'll be numbered. So I think we're going to have at the old Lewis Wright store right across the street, we'll have them up for sale there next week. So y'all can take a look at it when we finished, and I think that's going to be an ongoing thing from now on for the unit. It's under the Vieux Mardi Gras de Cajuns. That's our official name. That means old time Cajun Mardi Gras. You hear Eunice Mardi Gras, and then if you hear La Vieux Mardi Gras de Cajuns, you might get confused, but that's our official name. That means old time Cajun Mardi Gras. And a lot of those Mardi Gras that dance in the saddle, that's not rental horses that they're dancing on. The Mardi Gras dance in the saddle. The horses don't buck and don't take off, and that to me that's a true Mardi Gras that can dance in the saddle and not fall down. But some of them fall down, but it's not from the horse. But we have a pretty good crowd of Mardi Gras. We don't have a lot of scuffles and a lot of bad stuff that goes on the road. Our group's been good for quite a while. They're out there, they enjoy themselves.
Kiwanis.